Live and direct, we come and never pre-recorded, with information that will never be reported. Disregard the mainstream, media distorted. We come and listen and support it.
Hey, what's up, beautiful people? This is Zach Sweat with Eternal Strength. Thank you so much for tuning in to Eternal Strength Pirate Radio, and please be sure to check back each week as new episodes will be released.
Now it's officially a podcast.
So don't say anything about what I just said. That's completely confidential. No, but I mean it. Like I was telling Brenda, I just want to thank you, like, supporting Eternal Strength. The stream community, me having the opportunity to come on and speak to the stream community moms was gigantic, and it let me see how much hard work and effort and energy you've put into creating that community, giving them a platform. It's just been really inspiring to watch you do that, especially with parents. And then we're trying to do the same thing and just build as much local support as we can in Alpharetta and Milton and Johns Creek and East Cobb and Sandy Springs. But stream community we have with us today.
Yeah, he has his MO is to completely jump into the middle of the intro and just do it. I just finished telling him, what are you drinking, man? Is that a Zevia?
Bubbly.
Oh, bubbly, sorry.
And it's a gross flavor. It's River, my 5-year-old daughter. It's her favorite flavor, blackberry bubbly.
Their grapefruit is really good.
I go with the grapefruit and the lime. And then there's times where I'll wake up at like 2:30, 3 a.m., stumble into the kitchen and crack one of those. And it's like the best thing in the entire world. And then if we don't have one, it's never gotten bad enough for me to go out and drive and get one. But
you've never been that desperate.
No.
Well, you guys turned me on to Ritual. So I mixed the Ritual with the grapefruit and some lime and some ice.
What do you use? The gin?
I like the gin one, and also so I'll mix the gin and I get a cucumber spindrift.
Okay. Wow.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. And then I do the tequila Ritual with the grapefruit.
Okay, a Paloma.
Yes.
That's
so good.
Turn your mic up. Can you turn your mic up?
I can't.
No, Zach's. Brenda's perfect.
Oh, mine's okay.
Can you hear?
That's perfect. Well, you know, we ended up closing Anti-Psychiatry.
I know, I saw that.
We need to ship you all the extra bottles of.
I will take them.
Honestly, we have, some of those are going to Fusion for their grand opening, but I do have a 6-pack case of whiskey.
Oh my gosh.
You want me to send you a couple bottles? I think, why not?
Well, yeah, but that'd be super expensive.
No, don't even worry about it, because then we'll send you an Eternal Strength T-shirt.
Yes, I need that T-shirt.
Yeah, care package.
Actually, I'm going to need a bunch, because the moms in the stream, they're like, so those guys in Atlanta, why isn't there one of those in California? And I'm like, you have to talk to them about that.
Yeah.
It's so out of my realm of control, but yeah, they're big fans.
Here's the thing. If we sell the T-shirts to the moms for $500,000 a piece, we can open up the California location in a month.
Genius.
We sell.
That's our business model. That's how we,
you get a T-shirt and a treatment center.
Yeah.
And a bottle of fake whiskey. But anyway, so today we welcome Brenda Zane. So Brenda Zane you have a whole thing, and it's awesome. First, I want to just mention that you are a certified gangster. So we can start off with that certification.
Really? I am?
Certified gangster. I wrote it down.
Okay.
Brenda Zane is a Mayo Clinic certified health and wellness coach, family advocate, certified parent coach, and facilitator with the Partnership to End Addiction. She is also the host that we've spoken on earlier of the podcast show Hopestream, and founder of the online community, The Stream, that supports moms and kids with substance abuse disorder. Welcome, Brenda Zane.
Thank you. I actually support moms of kids. I don't support the kids. I leave that to the people like you, because I don't know how to support, I don't know how to do the kid therapy thing, but I support their moms.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. And we linked on your podcast first. You had us on your show, Hopestream.
Yeah.
And honestly, I wanted to tell you, I think we might have mentioned this too, but that podcast always sticks out to me. And I think that's a very special podcast because I remember Wes and I sitting in my kitchen doing that. And I think that was the first time we've been in a space to very candidly and openly and honestly talk about how we felt about things that maybe were, the industry there, what direction that was going in. So it felt really good. And I just remember that because you came with such an authenticity and so genuine on your platform. Like it just opened us up and we're just like, this is how we feel. And I think from there, it just spawned this whole new direction for us and how we speak to it. So I want to thank
awesome. Awesome. Yeah, it was a great episode. We had a lot of fun.
Good. Okay.
Man, I'm just, I was reflecting on that moment and meeting you and the community you've built, and I can see it every single video that you make. I can see that you're being authentic and you're being genuine, and this is your passion and your mission. And so anytime we can connect with like-minded souls who are bringing their everything to helping families that have maneuvered what they themselves have encountered, I think it's one of the most powerful things. And so it's awesome to have you here today. And
thank you.
Brenda, it's been like wild since we last talked to you. We've had growth in many different directions, but everything has been incredibly organic in certain ways with the team kind of settling. And Kara Morrissey and I just did a parent webinar with Most Time Media. And so we're really trying to carve out the parent piece.
And a bunch of my moms were there and they loved it.
Awesome. I had to pee so bad at the end.
Oh,
you
no.
made it to the end of the webinar. I decided.
Were you doing the potty dance?
Oh man, I was, and we had like 4 minutes left, and I'd asked for a water. Christian's wife Leslie, she brought me like a water, and then I did a ginger ale on top of it, and I thought I could do it, and then towards the end I was just like, and then I just blurted out.
Wrap this up.
Yeah, I gotta pee so bad.
Well, you said it, right? You said it out loud. You announced it.
I did. I announced it. I should have said urinate instead of pee.
That's how it goes sometimes.
Okay.
I've been there on podcast episodes where you're like, I would really love to continue this conversation. However.
Yes. Yeah. But man, I'd love to hear from you if you can kind of dive in and just tell us a little bit about where your time and energy has been focused, what's new with the stream community, what you guys are working on, and just kind of give us an update and bring us up to the present since we last talked.
Yeah, a lot's been going on. We're over 120 members now, which some days that sounds like a lot and sometimes it sounds like nothing. When I think about the number of families who are dealing with this, it sounds like nothing. Yeah. But then also, I think it takes a lot of bravery for a mom to join a community, because I'll get members that will join and say, I've been listening to your podcast for a year and I just got up the nerve to join. So there's something about, I think, when you click that button that says join, it's like, okay, this is really real now, right? It just kind of crosses you over a line of like, I'm joining a group for people who have this thing in their life. And so that's been great to see growth just in our community, lots more moms. And we recently, this is so interesting, I had a retreat last year. It was a dream of mine when I started the community. I was like, wouldn't it be cool if we could all actually get together in real life? Because I started it in April of 2020. So I started it during COVID. So there was no option. So I kind of threw it out there last year. We had 7 moms. We got together in San Diego. It was amazing. We're like, oh, you have a body from like here down. That's amazing. You have a whole body. Yeah. So we got to hang out, for 3 days in the sun, and we did sound baths and we ate great food, and it was just incredible. And so I brought on actually a community director because it was getting to the point where I couldn't manage everything. So Kathy was one of our original founding members. She came on as the community director, so she really heads up the whole community now. So we were talking, we said, well, we should do another one of those retreat things in October. That would be really cool. So we had space for 12 people. We opened it up, sold out in 48 hours, not even 48 hours. It was like 30 hours or something. And now we have a wait list of 10 more people who want to get in. So now we're looking for a bigger, ginormous house to do this retreat in. So I think what I'm seeing is this real, and maybe it's partly COVID, but it's also a desire to really connect personally. Because, we connect every day online, but there's a whole different thing, as you guys know, when you're in person together. It just changes the relationship, especially when you have a group like ours where everybody has this shared experience of the craziness, the fear, the confusion, the shame, blame, all of that stuff. And then you meet each other and you're like, oh, wait, you're just like me.
Yeah.
I'm not this horrible mom, because that's what goes through our mind is I'm a terrible mom. I did something to make this happen with my kiddo. And I'm talking about substance use kids in particular. I went wrong somewhere. I must be some freakazoid parent to have this happen. And then you get together and you're like, oh, you wear the same shoes that I do.
Yeah.
Oh, you use the same mascara that I do because you're in the bathroom together in the morning getting ready, or you're drinking coffee together and you're talking about what creamer you like. And it's like, life is just so normal for those hours that you're together. And it's like, these are my people. These are my people. And it's just so refreshing. So that's exciting. So just a lot of momentum.
As I think about, as you're talking, it's like all the parents that I've worked with over the years that have immediately gone to extreme amounts of guilt and shame. What have I done to create this? What did I not do in my parenting, in my boundaries, and they will, Zach's favorite word, tyrannize. They will tyrannize themselves and just do this evaluation of like, what did I not do in early childhood development? Did I not do enough psychoeducation around substances? Was I too focused on work? And it'll be all this internal lens of, did I create this substance abuse, this addiction, this challenge? And I just try and immediately get them to let go of that, because the case study data that I've seen time and time again in the real world, in my private practice at Eternal Strength, is there's no one parent that deals with this, and it's never a direct correlation between home environment and parents and substance use. But all the literature and the statistics tell you, of course, more stressors and strain in early childhood. If you have a parent with substance abuse issues or with addiction, or there was a lot of abuse and neglect and trauma, all these things get correlated with and a higher statistical chance of addiction. But the countless families that I've seen that don't have any of those factors or variables, and they're going, why did my kid land in this space? And I think it's what we talked about last time, Brenda, is environment and our culture and our society and what's prevalent in youth culture and what they are listening to and being conditioned to think. And because you see a romanticization of substance use and drug use in media and in culture, and young people are picking up on it. But I think it's beautiful what you're doing to connect these moms and give them community. So tell me this, how long is the retreat?
The retreat starts on a Thursday night and it ends on Sunday morning. So it's quick, but it's amazing. Bless you. It's amazing how you can become like sisters in that time. Yeah. So we have a lot of fun, and it's called Restoration Mom. So it's just all about restoring, repairing. We do sessions like we do a lot of focus in the community and also at the retreat, but the focus isn't on our kids. And that's something that I think is interesting for people, is we're not in there always talking about our kids. I would say the majority of our conversations are about you as a woman. What are your dreams that have been left behind? You know, what are you dealing with? How are you growing in yourself? What does your self-care look like? And we obviously do teach skills. So we teach craft, you know, the craft approach. And we do that, and we teach on boundaries. But in general, the conversation is not about our kids, because there's a lot of focus on the kids. They're getting a lot of attention.
Yeah.
Mom is getting no support. Like, no one's taking care of her. And so that's where our focus really is. And so we just, you know, like, a lot of people don't realize moms of these kids are often going through menopause. So you add a at-risk kid who is, you know, doing all the things that we know they do, and then you add a mother figure who's very often kind of the key person in the home who's trying to deal with this, who is like, feels like an alien in her body. She's not sleeping. She's just going through this massive change of her own, because this is right in the time zone, right? When your kids get into their teens, mom is usually somewhere between 45 and 55, in that range. And, you know, extreme stress can lead to an early onset of menopause. So we have a whole group of women who are like, hello,
Yeah.
what is going on? First of all, what's going on with me? I'm unable to deal with my child because I'm so freaked out and I'm emotional and I don't have, so, you know, our focus is like, get to the doctor. When is the last time you had a mammogram? When is the last time you had 24 hours by yourself anywhere to just breathe and have a cup of tea and a bath?
The adjustment.
And they just laugh. They're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So we do a lot of that. Is what we do is we're propping up mom and getting her healthy. Because as you guys see the flip side of that, right? If you see a healthy, strong mom walk in who's confident, she's rested, she looks like she's got it together, you're probably like, whew, okay, we're dealing with a better scenario than the frazzled, freaked out, panicked mom who hasn't slept in months and she hasn't eaten and she has no water in her system. Like, those are all very real things that make a difference.
Absolutely. And man, we think about, you're spot on, because the majority of our work with moms when they come in is, how do we validate what's going on and the level of stress and strain and anxiety and difficulty you're maneuvering, but how do we get you to recognize that you have little to no direct tangible control over your child's behaviors and emotions, but you do have all this control over how you care for yourself, what you do on a day-to-day basis. And it's so hard, man. It's like, and you know, with my own daughters, as you were talking right then, I just wanted to go like grab my wife and like send her on a retreat immediately. I was like, I'm sorry. Listen, I know you haven't had 24 hours and you need a cup of tea and you haven't had a bath in a while. I've been working really hard. And you see the dynamic with the dads where, you know, I think there's a whole other piece from a paternal standpoint. There's a lot of covering up emotions and not wanting to reveal vulnerability and wanting to strong arm and control. So the dads are coming in and it's an additional pressure where they're like, fuck this, we're going to figure it out. I'll tell you what to do. We need more boundaries, more consequences. This has to happen. And the family environment just starts to close in on itself, because this sick kid that's maneuvering all the difficulty of addiction and substance abuse is creating, and it's not malicious and it's not intentional, but it's creating a sickness in the family ecosystem. And if you cannot control another human, what do you have control over? And then it becomes focusing on that self-care. But it's the craziest thing, because your natural instinct as a parent is, I cannot be okay if my kid's not.
Yeah.
It feels like an abandonment, like you're hurting your child to step away and, oh, really, I'm supposed to go get a massage and go eat lunch and go to the gym and drink water when I'm worried that my kid's going to OD today? Are you fucking crazy?
Exactly.
I can't. But then you start to see you're not going to be able to do anything to help yourself or your family if you're drowning.
Yeah, if you can't show up at it and, you know, show up for your kid at optimum level if you're not continuously doing the preventative maintenance needed. It's what we talked about yesterday, man. It's like, no matter what's going on around you, yes, it's a lot easier. So we can sit here and talk about it all day, but actually getting in the habit of doing that. And that's kind of what I wanted to ask. Like, I know it's a quick, like, kind of gut punch, like 4-day retreat, but what do you guys, when they go back into their homes, like, what is the kind of final wrap up, like sending them back out into their environments and encourage them? How are you encouraging them to start to create the habit of doing the preventative maintenance and the self-care practices?
We actually started before the retreat. So like right now we have a full house. We have 7 months. It's like everyone's doing this, like, is it October yet? Because I really need this retreat. So we're starting now with that, and we have little pre-treats. So we'll be really connecting every month. I mean, we're connected every day anyway, but the smaller group who's going to be at the retreat to start working on those things, and a lot of them are doing really well at it. But we also, like, one of the exercises that we do that's really fun at the retreat is, actually I have them right here, is we refocus on our dreams, because we leave our dreams behind. So these are our dreams from the last retreat. So everybody gets a paint chip because we're kind of thrifty. So, and they look really pretty. So cool. Everybody gets a paint chip and they write their dream of what they have left behind and what they want to do in the next year on a paint chip. And then we each get a paint chip. And so then we check in with each other and we say, how are you doing? So like this one, she wanted to go to New York and she went to New York. So done. So I put her in a different pile. Oh, yeah. This one wants to finish her doctorate in education.
I thought
she's working on it.
Say finished PhD. Sorry.
That's me.
Yeah.
Making fun of me.
Yeah.
I need to do this.
She wants to learn the piano. She's taking piano lessons. So we check, and this one, she was crying when we were doing this exercise. And I said, why are you crying? She said, I have no idea what to write on this paint chip.
Yeah.
I have no idea. So we talked about it for a while and she ended up with, I'm going to organize my office. I don't know if you can see these.
Yeah.
She said, I just want to organize my office because that will give me a sense of calm and peace and like comfort. So we do things like this where throughout the year we're checking in with each other. I have a current request that they all want to come to Seattle and visit me this summer. So I don't know what we're going to do. But yeah, it's just I think that's a great thing too about having an online community is it's there 24/7. So these conversations are going on and then somebody will drop off and I'll be like, Kathy, I haven't seen her for a couple of weeks. Will you check in? And we can check in on each other, and it may be like, oh, I was just really busy. I got COVID, or, my kid overdosed and I've been living at the hospital. So we do that just to stay connected with each other. So it's fun. Yeah. It's, you get to see a different side of people, which is really fun.
It's awesome. And I think this is, I know this is the big piece of Wes's and our vision now, that the community aspect and how much healing takes place in that community. And I never realized that. It's like what you said, it's like being in person and that connection and having that accountability and that support system, man. That's such a major key in the healing piece is the community.
Yeah. And to be able for them we have groups. So when people join, they join, either my child is currently experimenting or in active addiction, my child is in a treatment program, or my child is transitioning to sober living or recovery or one of those. So they're getting very curated kind of conversations around those particular experiences. And so I just think, we have a mom, she joins, she's considering wilderness therapy or she's considering out of home placement, and she can connect with other moms who have been in that exact position, who are maybe like 3 months ahead of her. And then, she's going to help somebody who comes 2 weeks behind her. So you get that. And then they can connect with somebody like me. I'm 5 years out. I can be like, oh, sister, let me just tell you, buckle your seatbelt, but you're going to be okay. Right. So it's great to be able to connect with people on different parts of the journey and to get there. And we don't give advice. We are 100% against giving advice, but this was my experience. Here are the things that I learned a lot from. Here are the things I wish I might have tried. And so that's just really empowering. And I think that gives them confidence to be able to make better decisions, because it's so your self-confidence gets so eroded by the time you're at that place where you're having to make those really difficult and big decisions. Your self-confidence is like this big because you've been through so much, and so you're doubting and I'm like, oh, should I do this or should I do that? So to just have a sounding board and a little bit of like a safety net to go to, not that you're going to make your decision based off of that, but to get those different perspectives. Oh, I would never send my kid to wilderness again. Oh, I would 100% send my kid to wilderness again. And then you can say why, and learn from that is really powerful. So when I created the community, I was just like, what would I have wanted when I was going through it alone?
Yeah.
And that was one of the things, is I just would have loved to have been able to have some of those conversations just to kind of gut check what I was thinking and feeling, because you've never been here before. It's like, this is whole new world.
Yeah.
It's like, what world did I just land in that I'm talking about IOPs and PHPs, and I don't even know what those mean, and it's so confusing. So it helps to have a community around you that can give you some of that context, and just, it speeds up the learning process quite a bit. So it's great.
Man, Brenda, you're the bomb. You're I want to go back. First, I want to know, did you steal those paint chips from Home Depot?
Not from Home Depot.
Sherwin-Williams.
Maybe somewhere else.
Okay.
And they're the Magnolia Home ones.
I knew it. Okay, Magnolia Home. We'll tag them.
Yep.
And
not Ace Hardware, but somewhere else.
Full price.
They're so pretty.
As you were talking about a parent's dreams, there's this beautiful quote from Carl Jung that says, a child's greatest disservice is their parents' unlived dreams.
Yes.
And when you first hear it, again, it sounds like inherently selfish. As a parent, you're like, well, no. My role is to take care of my kid and to be there for them and to put them first and their needs. But what you start to recognize is the nuanced complexity that's woven into that is, if you are miserable with your life and your soul's not getting fed, that child and that interpersonal relationship and dynamic that you have is going to feel that energetically. And you're coming to that relationship burnt, exhausted, overwhelmed, questioning your life. And so like the brightness and the light has been dimmed out in you. And so, I think, but it's such a hard journey, because to go and live your life and live your dreams requires a certain sacrifice, where you have to put time and energy into that may take you away from the home, or not at home as much, and different roles. Man, I got super emotional the other night, because I'm always working with these parents, and in particular moms. And again, I don't like advice giving either. And what you mentioned about the difference between clinical professionals and parents with experience, lived experience phenomenologically, I'd pick that second group, because there's such a wealth of knowledge in parents going, here's what I did. Here's what the scenario was. This is what I learned. This is what I do the same. This is what I do different. And sometimes if you get clinical professionals that have little to no experience with all that realm of continuum of care with treatment, IOP, PHP, residential, wilderness, sometimes they may be experts academically or theoretically on addiction or substance abuse, but an expert who studies addiction and has never experienced it in real life in their family is very different. It's an outsider view of a phenomenon, and studying it almost from detached perspective. Whereas if you've lived it and felt it, there's something completely different. But I was watching Jordan Peterson, who's super a-hole, controversial, can deliver things in a way that people hate him, and he's been ostracized, but then he'll drop knowledge. And I like parts of it and I hate parts of it, but man, he does beautiful work with mythology. And he'll use Jung and do Jungian analysis, and some Jungians hate him. They're like, oh, I hate the way he interprets Jung. But he was talking about mythology and religious mythology, and he was talking about the ultimate sacrifice or crucifixion of the mother. And he talked about Michelangelo's Pieta, which is the Mother Mary holding Christ as fully grown, and he's completely withered and torn and beaten, and she's holding him, and he gets really emotional as he talks about it. And he's like, because here's a mother holding her child that the world has wounded and hurt and harmed, but the world is unrelentless and is going to hurt and harm. But she's almost recognizing the necessity of pushing your child out into the world, because if you stay here with me, you get harmed in a different way. Whereas I have to watch you walk into this world, into maturity, into young adulthood, and maneuver it. And it kills me to watch you get harmed and hurt. But I know if I try and protect you and coddle you, that you get hurt in a different way. You never learn the ways of the world. You never become empowered yourself. You never grow. You never step into this maturity. And so there's a part of me that has to watch you go through pain and harm and hurt. And what does that look like? And I just think about the relationship between the archetypal mother and child, and how that's a completely different journey to watch, because you have all the work you're doing with the moms in stream communities, like the expectations, the projection, what you want for your child, and then watching your life unfold in a way that you never imagined it was going to. Yeah. And all the emotions that come with that. But I think the most profound healing lies in what you've created. Back to Zach's point, the community. It's like, if you got community, then you're not alone, and you always have support and you always have guidance. It doesn't mean you're not going to go through pain and hurt and turmoil, but that can be incredibly healing to have that support around you and not feel completely isolated and alone.
Yeah, 100%. It goes against the DNA that is built into us as mothers to let our kids get hurt.
Yeah.
And it's when it's them hurting themselves, it's even more torturous. And so I think you have to have that community around you, which is why I built this, because I didn't have anybody. I mean, I went to a couple Al-Anon meetings, and it wasn't for me. It just didn't really help me. And so I think to be able to lock arms with other moms who are also being tortured, as bad as that sounds, and people often, they're like, oh, that sounds like a really horrible club to be a part of, but we actually have a lot of fun. It's very uplifting, like visually. I can't remember if I took you guys on a tour or not, but it's very beautiful and uplifting, and we laugh a lot and we have a lot of fun because we can do that because we have this shared experience with our kids. But to have that, and to be able to say to each other, I know, I get it.
Yeah.
And nobody else can say that. They can say, oh, that must be really hard. And it's like, oh, you have no idea how hard. So to be able to look somebody in the eyes and say, I get it. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to minimize it. You don't have to rationalize it or excuse it or anything like that. We can just be here to hold you up, and that's what we do. We scoop them up. Usually they're, crumpled on the floor. And so we scoop them up and we build them up and dust them off. And, give them a little swagger. And I tell them all the time, I'm like, you guys are the SEAL Team 6 of parents. Like,
cool.
You do not need to be the ashamed parents. You need to be kind of feeling sorry for the other parents who haven't done this and don't have the skills that you have. You are the boss parents. And so walk with a little bit of swagger. Like, yeah, I just gave my daughter Narcan last night. What'd you do last night?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm driving 2 hours to bring my daughter to take her Vivitrol shot. What are you doing today?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to go to lunch? Have fun. Like that's, and not in a negative way, but just in a like empowered way, confident way. Like these are the things we are doing. People, don't look down on me.
Yeah. To let go of the shame and to let go, like you need to hide or you can't name, I'm maneuvering this with my family system and this is what's going on in my life right now. And I'm taking it on the chin as much as I can and maneuvering what I can, but to not have to sit there at a lunch and placate anybody and not be able to share like that your world is falling apart and all these insane stressors are going on while somebody bitches that their kid didn't get into the private school and then they got a soccer game later this night and you're like, yo, we're living in different worlds right now. And I maneuver and the only, I haven't felt it because I've been on the side with my own addiction and what I did to my family unintentionally, but what I watched happen. But where I have felt what you're describing intensely is my daughter's story with her special needs, autism and her childhood apraxia of speech, her genetic deletion, the special needs school, the difficulties. And it's like, man, people don't get it, but I wear it with pride. And I really like Zach and I spoke at a school yesterday to senior boys, the cottage school here in Atlanta. And one of the slides we put up was calm waters don't make experienced sailors.
Right.
And so all I know is, man, I'm that sailor. I'm that pirate. I've lost an eye. I got a peg leg, but I'll go out on the sea and I will sail better than anybody in the room because of what I've endured and been through. It's a strength embedded within it. Yeah. And it should. I love that. The SEAL Team 6 is like, these are moms that you can lean on who have maneuvered and endured more than you could imagine and are still standing, still moving forward, growing, working on themselves. That is a badass individual who is holistically moving forward regardless of what encounters they've had to maneuver. It's awesome.
Yes. And she's also, by the way, holding down a very senior level corporate job at Amazon or wherever.
Yeah.
She is also caring for her parents who have dementia. She is also being, a spouse. She is also still running the soccer team for her younger son. She is still doing all of those things on top of being that mom. So it's significant. And I just try to remind them of that all the time because it can wear on you and it's very grating and it can be like, you're just sinking. It's like, nope, come on back.
Yeah. Man. Okay. So tell me this, here's what I want to know. Cause I really want to link these moms with the stream community. So if we get moms coming into Eternal Strength, which we do frequently, like we just, Zach and I got off, he was on the phone earlier with a family that just signed up with us, is about to start. And the dad called and was like, we might not even make it up there. We're looking at a wilderness and we're looking at doing something more immersive. We're struggling this level. With those moms, what would you say to them about coming on board with the stream community? What would you recommend? Like, do they just dive in and come to one of the retreats? Do they click join and actually join the community? Or do they start to just look at your content and explore some of it? What's the best way for them to entry in?
I would say listen to the podcast because there's a lot of, as you know, there's 104 episodes now. So there's a lot of different topics. Because I think you have.
Do we have, Zach? We got like what, 105, I think.
Something like that.
I think we got like 20. We'll get there, Brenda. We'll get there.
Okay. No worries.
21. I don't know what episode this is.
Okay. That's awesome. But I think Obviously it depends on the mom, but I think listening to the podcast is good. Hopping on Instagram, it's just the stream community, because I think you have to date for a while before you get married, and I feel like joining the community is getting married a little bit.
Yeah.
There is a financial commitment. We ask for a 1-year commitment. You can pay monthly, but we ask for a 1-year commitment because life gets totally crazy, and they often will like, oh, I gotta drop my membership because life is crazy. And it's like, that's actually when you need to stay plugged in.
Yeah.
And when it's 2:30 in the morning and you've canceled your membership a month ago and you really need somebody, we are going to be there all the time. Like, we're not going anywhere. So we do ask for that. So it's not insignificant to join. It's $29 a month or $49 a month. So I'm not saying that it's a big financial commitment. It's extremely affordable, but it is like, I am committing to this community. We ask that people participate. You know, we want it to be a very organic and like, you know, thriving community. So I would say listen to the podcast for a while first, just soak up as much information as you can. And then if you're like, okay, these seem like the kind of people I would want to hang out with, then join. We have a two weeks free, so people can come in and be like, yeah, okay, they're kind of cool. I like this. There's tons of events, as you guys know, every week. Yeah, I just think you have to sort of get a relationship going first before you step in. And we do have kind of an onboarding process. So it's not like, oh, I just got dropped into this big wild thing. We have a buddy mom that will connect with you in the first couple of weeks just to sort of say, hey, come to this event with me. Because it's, you know, it's not like, you know, executive women joining a leadership group. It's like very exhausted, freaked out, frazzled moms joining a club that they really wish they didn't need to be a part of. It's like, this is the last club I would ever want to join. Yeah. So we do have a process to sort of help people come in, understand where they are, how to navigate around, how to find the content, how to find the material, like your video, and we have workshops, and we do yoga classes, and I do live meditations. So there's a lot going on, and that can be a little overwhelming at first. So we bring people in kind of gently and just show them around. And we talk about it like it's a big house. Like the main feed is the living room, and everybody's kind of in the living room. Then you can go over to this like really cool little meditation room over here. It's really beautiful and quiet. Or you could go over here. And so, but it's a commitment. So I just tell people, listen to the podcast, and it's free. You can learn a ton, and then, you know, go from there.
Man, it's awesome. I want to put up all the information. I love what you're talking about, where it's like, look, get on there, listen to some of the podcast, absorb the information, feel like if you connect with this and these are your people, know that there are tremendous resources. There's different levels you can be at, and you can kind of not need to feel overwhelmed and just take it step at a time and integrate yourself in. Damn it, Brenda. Yeah. You're making me think of like, you're doing such, what? Well, no, but what she's doing, I can't, and I'll get emotional, man, but like, I can't, all the moms being like, yo, why isn't there one in California? Why can't there be an Eternal Strength out there? Or why isn't there one over here? I wish that we could create an online community and that the kids would participate. It just doesn't work the same. They really, right? Because you got to have this intentionality. And so much of the work that we do is we got to get them in the center. They're already crazy resistant. Then the resistance falls, and then they start to engage, but man, they won't do anything. Zoom. I mean, every now and then we'll get them with a mentor and a therapist, and the relationship's so strong that when they go to college, they'll keep reaching out and doing it, but it's so few and far between. I'm just like, it makes me think about wanting to help the moms that you serve, wanting to, in the way that I know we can, which is by offering support for their kids. Yeah. And trying to find new and unique ways to do that. But I want to send you, Brenda. I'm really excited. I still have a very large vision. And my goal is to get to the place where we can expand on acreage and we can have a residential and have a large part of the acreage utilized for wilderness excursions and figuring out a way to be able to do that. And so I had drawn up, I'll send it to you, a really cool, just like early vision of 100 acres of land, the youth center, the community center, a skate park embedded in nature, full basketball courts, tennis courts, our immersive wilderness component, and then the residential as well. And that I've shared with my team, and we're trying to look at securing land in 2023 and doing that.
You know, there's a lot of land in Washington.
Okay.
I'm just putting it out there.
Okay. And I think, you know, Zach and I have learned many a lesson with
number one,
slow down and
right.
not bite off more than we can chew. But our vision is, man, put them where they need to be, serve the families how they need to be served, and grow it based on that. And so, you know, even when we start here, I think the residential component is going to be something that makes sense for some families that don't even live here and can get support in the way that they need. And, you know, you and I have maneuvered the same waters of ed consultants, wilderness therapy, residential, therapeutic boarding school, many beautiful clinicians and human souls mixed and mingled throughout different programs, but all of them are separate. And all of them require the young person to jump from relationship and connection to a different treatment team, to a different treatment team. And that transition back home is oftentimes really challenging. So being able to do one long-term continuum of care under one roof with the same treatment team and have it fully customizable is something that I think is needed to happen for a long time and can better serve families. So
Oh, I agree. I think it is mind-boggling how many, I mean, I was just talking yesterday with somebody and I have it here. I don't have it handy, but I have a binder this thick that started when my son first, you know, when the police were first in my living room, that went all the way through all of the years. And it's this fat binder of just everything, insurance paperwork and all the different, I finally created a Word doc that I could just cut and paste our story and his things and all that, because you're just doing it over and over and over. It's just so much. And that's actually one thing that I think is such a benefit of being a part of a community like ours is we span all of that. So just like we would love the kids to have one place to be, for the moms, you know, like if their kid goes to wilderness, they have the parent support group at the wilderness program, which is awesome. And they're part of that. But then the kid leaves and goes to residential. So now they have a whole new support team the parents have to get familiar with. Then the kid leaves, goes home. Now they're kind of like, now I got nothing. Then the kid relapses. So now they're back in this. So the parent support team is just all chopped up as well. So that's where we offer that continuum of like, it doesn't matter if your kid is experimenting and they've never been in treatment, you don't even know what treatment is, all the way through to 3 years later, they've been in 3 different programs, they've run away, they've been in the hospital, and now they're back in a thing, same people, same platform, same everything. And it reduces one more level of crazy for the moms. Because there's just so much to navigate. It's like, well, who do I call for this? And who's my support person now? And so that, you know, all the individual programs are great, the parent programs, and we encourage, like, you need to be going to that. But this is your baseline. Like, we are always here. We're just going to always be here no matter what.
And Brenda, it's awesome and it's needed. And I want to start to encourage the parents that come on board with us, or the ones that Eternal Strength isn't a good fit and they land somewhere else. I just want to start to let these moms know more and more about Stream Community, because it seems to me, I cannot think of a mom over the years that I've worked with that wouldn't have highly benefited from having that consistent component throughout.
It's a big part of it.
Yeah, whatever the journey was, like you said, early on, prevention type work, or if it was in the middle, of something, or if it was wilderness or therapeutic boarding school or IOP or PHP, that being there throughout is an integral component of self-care, of that mom having a community and having support around her throughout. I think it's awesome. And I think it's necessary.
It's just a piece of glue that, can make life just a lot easier, and to be able to talk to the same people, because it's like, oh, that her daughter was coming home at the same time mine was. Now it's 6 months later. Let me check in with her and see what's going on in her household. Oh, my daughter relapsed, so now she's back over here. So you can have those relationships that that are really glued together. No matter, the kids are all over the place, right? Like they're doing their thing, and so there's just that level of consistency that you don't have to try to figure anything out. You just like, there it is. There's my people. There's my moms.
Yeah.
So,
Brenda, it's so cool. So listen, we'll close it out. But as you were talking, I really, really like the Navy SEAL
Team 6.
But you know what that means?
I don't know what that means. I was just going to say I should probably look that up before I start talking about that. It sounds like really badass.
If your group of moms is Navy SEAL Team 6, that means you are Jocko Willink.
Oh,
and do you know who that is? Oh boy,
character.
He's like one of the most badass Navy SEAL guys ever, and he does business leadership, and he's got a podcast, and he's like, he wrote a book called Extreme Ownership, and he's just so it was a cool analogy, and when you said it, I was like, oh my gosh.
All right.
Brenda's the leader, bringing her team where they need to and doing the work they need to, and it's just awesome. But like, I am insanely grateful for you, for our connection, for our friendship, for you coming on the podcast.
Yeah.
And then you got to let us know if you make it out to Georgia.
Absolutely.
And then if we make it up that way, we won't even ask. We'll just show up.
Just show up. Yeah, totally. And I'm going to put it out there just for anybody who's listening, and for you. We are also thinking about a dad's group. So it would be separate from the stream. We're thinking it would be the river, which is kind of nice because of your daughter. But we just need a couple of guys to run it. So I'm just going to put that into the universe.
Okay.
Because we have the model, we have the content, we have everything we need, but we need a couple of guys, either dads or other people that would be willing to put their fingerprint on it. So just gonna leave that out there.
Okay. Let us marinate on it.
Okay.
That
sounds good.
Like it's super needed, and I'm sure whatever way it maneuvers, it's going to be beautiful. But yes, I already have ideas floating.
Okay.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Hey y'all, this is Wes. Thank you so much for tuning in to Eternal Strength Pirate Radio. Head on over to eternalstrengthatl.com, and don't forget to check out cosmiclamb.org, our 501c3 nonprofit, where you can make a donation and help us fulfill the mission of bringing radical youth work to any and all families in need.